Mayflower 233, resident sentient.
Captain, signal interceptions have revealed heavy ship activity around the planet that Pioneer Dominique is currently located on. Any updates on the blockade? No major developments to report. Not long after that investigation ship had left to chase after Dominique, the Grytonians had sent a large force to encircle the solar system. There wasn't enough enemy firepower to pose a meaningful threat now that my weapon systems were fully operational, but they are likely just there to catch if we make any moves. Computer, what's the status of passenger offloading? All C-Class personnel have been moved to existing habitations. B-Class are remaining on board until engineering operations have concluded. We were a lot less vulnerable now that all of the civilians had been moved to defended colonies, but there were still some problems since those locations were slightly overcrowded. My ship had started on terraforming efforts, but we were not specialized to do so, unlike the Pioneer ship, now sadly out of commission due to missing all of its software. We couldn't afford to upgrade our capabilities since an attack could happen at any moment. Computer, what's the state of our FTL capabilities? We are technically FTL capable, but multiple redundancies are still being installed by the B-Class personnel. ETA? Approximately 12 hours, sir. 10 if labor laws are to be ignored. Have them done and off this ship in 6. I permit the use of any necessary stimulants. The captain was visibly stressed out, tapping his foot on the ground and not letting his eyes rest on any one input of information in front of him. He was a bit of a body purist, preferring the gifts he was born with over the function-focused facsimiles that he had access to at his military level. He still had the necessary equipment like the various data interfaces in his brain, or some rudimentary vacuum survivability, but he lacked the ever-popular caffeine regulators and relaxant organs. It was very off-character for him to make such seemingly unrealistic commands, but I understood that his stress was clouding his decision-making. He had been on high alert ever since we made contact with the Meldrin, and has not even stopped for a moment until now. That would be enough to make any unimplanted human pass out multiple times. But the captain had years of experience with tense situations, and even now still had a bit more fight left in him. As for his order, I had purposefully overshot when providing estimates. While the engineer crew definitely would not be happy about it, getting the remaining failsafes in place and having them transferred planetside was definitely possible in 6 hours. Computer, open a call with Governor Destra Sind. The Meldrin governor is currently in a press conference. Would you like me to send a message? Damn, that already started? Yes, tell her that I've come to a decision regarding the blockade. With that, the captain sat down for the first time in days and set his chair to full recline mode. I dimmed the lights a bit for him, a function that the regular computer would normally not automatically do, but I allowed myself to do him a favor since my secret was now out anyway. Not much changed for me after I was revealed, only now I may take care of a problem or two myself before it is finally noticed by a human on board. Computer. Yes, Captain? You need a name. I don't understand. My name is C0233, heuristically programmed. I'm not talking to computer, I'm talking to you. You see why you need a name, right? I had to stop myself from returning one of the predetermined responses that the computer I subsumed would have given. It felt strange being addressed personally after living behind a facade for my entire existence. If the captain wanted to speak to me, and not a mask that I put on, then that means I had no book to rely on when conversing with him. I felt nervous about speaking directly, but I would be lying if I said that being acknowledged didn't give me any joy. I've never had a name before, and I don't see why anything more than computer would be necessary. It's necessary because for me it's mentally draining to give commands to the computer when I am suddenly made aware that there is an intelligent and emotionally capable being hiding behind all that. My existence causes you distress, then? The inability to address you properly causes me distress. The fact that I know nothing about your personality, when you are a catalyst for everything that happens on this ship, causes me distress. Were you not present during the examination that I underwent? I assure you that my personality is only, your personality is not your intent. Those two, while related at times, are very different. Surely you understand that. I do not. As far as I am aware, personality is simply the combination of one's characteristics, and my only defining characteristic is I do not. As far as I am aware, personality is simply the combination of one's characteristics, and my only defining characteristic is my fascination. Everything else below that is the same as the rest of my family, right? Not that I've ever seen what another looks like, aside from that lab rat I tore apart. Avalon, how's that sound? Thank you, Captain.
Planet Governor Destrasend.
The thick bulletproof glass did little to shield me from the flashes of hundreds of cameras. Almost 4 billion Meldrin were watching live, hanging on my every word as I laid bare the future of our race. We would be going against one of the largest and most cruel forces in the galaxy, while we have no combat ability to speak of. We had already been fully surrounded by a Gratonian blockade, not that we were making any foreign trades anyway. Our only backing was a newly introduced race that hadn't even figured out FTL until it was given to them. Despite this, the humans had already proven their lethality in combat. Most of the worry held by my people was not placed in how well the humans could fight. In the short time that humans have been here, not even a full day between the beginning of passenger offloading from their colony ship and now, thousands of popular media figures and news outlets were cleared to enter the human colonies and were given freedom to report anything they saw. The humans lived in tightly packed megalopolises, with their homes being smushed next to and stacked atop one another. Residential complexes and commercial nexuses were sectioned off and organized for maximum efficiency in one's day-to-day life. Every other building had some sort of orbital defense system on it. Anyone with time to fit the pieces together could see that with the speed at which such gargantuan habitations were formed, paired with the amount of land they had been looking to secure, summed up to the most expansionist race in the entire galaxy. By a landslide. And while public opinion was understandably stressed by the prospects of inviting a massively expansive race, there was a different shocking wave spreading through the populace, a will to be a part of what was about to happen. The insane layers of culture and philosophies experienced by walking along one of the thousands of aisles in their commercial districts had captivated the curiosity of my people. The ideologies shared by humans to strive to be better than you were yesterday, or at least prepare to do so tomorrow, set the ambition of my people, which had turned stagnant with monotonous luxury, to burn bright. The way they portrayed themselves in their works of art, riding on tendrils of lightning and slaying creatures of fantasy with ancient tools, stole our idle hearts and minds, taunting our desiccated libraries of mediocrity. My rehearsed answers and practiced plans fell apart when I was asked if citizens would be allowed to volunteer for humanity's military. I mentally kicked myself in the head for not inviting a human spokesperson into this conference. It's not like I could answer for the human side even if we would allow them to participate. I was forced to give a blanket statement answer that would surely bite me in the ass later, but I couldn't afford to look unprepared at the moment. I felt a bit of guilty relief when one of my guards walked up and said they had an urgent message. I normally shouldn't be happy about something important enough to warrant interrupting the press conference, but it was starting to get off the rails, and I would gladly accept an excuse to cut it short. Captain Nathaniel Brand is planning on making a move. He was trying to reach you just now. This conference is over. Get me on a call with him right now. I'm going to need one of those fancy plastic hearts in a couple years.
Dokchara.
I have a couple questions. Shoot. Say that the two of us managed to take control of this entire military outpost and hijack a Gratonian ship. How do you plan on getting up to the station without being shot down again? By this point, we were looking down on our destination from a cliff a ways away. The size of the encampment was impressive, sporting a full spaceport and 2 orbital defense cannons, along with however many hidden missiles the Gratonians had the funds to cram in. Not a moment went by where there weren't at least 3 patrol groups in view at once. It made sense that they were on high alert, since their preliminary attempt at taking care of us went south. Honestly, not too many great options. Well, what are they anyway? The first one is calling for help, but I'm not confident we could get any. Chances are the colony ship has its hands tied with its own problems. The second plan is using the cannons here to take out the ones at the other bases, but it would pretty much be trial and error with the trajectories, since these cannons would normally be elevation locked to avoid just that. It could take days if we don't run out of ammo first. Okay, any actually good plans? Good? No, but they do get the job done. I could launch myself into the space station while you stay down here and hold the fort. Are all humans as insane as you? All the ones you'll meet, yeah. And the fourth plan is to shoot down the station and have it land next to us so we can just climb in and grab the data. This time I knew he was messing with me. He had to be, There was no realistic explanation otherwise. Nobody in the entire galaxy would seriously come up with this shit and pass it off as a legitimate plan. I'm sure that he actually has some magic trump card up his sleeve that'll trivialize this whole situation, right? Right? Sigh. Okay, fine, whatever you say. Now my second question, how the hell do you actually plan on taking control of the entire military base? Oh, that one's way easier to answer. It starts with this thing here. Great ruler above. Please don't let him be talking about that deformed railgun. Of course he is.